Team 14 versus Team 15 here in the Underclass division at the Check Me Out Showcase. Marcus Burnett joined by Kelsey Plum as we bring you our final webcast of the day. The nice little kiss off the window goes for number 143 there. That's Karina Taylor. Gets Team 15 and the game on the board.
I'm telling you right now, Marcus, we're going to see Karina a lot this game. She is active. She is a scorer. She is always searching for her shot. She's a very good player.
Very high sentiments there from a respected basketball perspective such as yourself. So I look forward to watching her play. This game, it's early on, but I like the energy just here in the opening two possessions. The aforementioned Taylor curling around, too easy. That was the basketball version of arm tackling. They were just, you had a couple reaches in there. That's not going to be enough to stop Taylor. Back-to-back buckets for the Zip. Answering right back, that's number 8, Makia Reed.
Nice shot by Reed. Her teammate set the screen, and instead of going off of it, she just stepped behind it and took her time, knocked down that shot.
Reed out of Tacoma, Washington. That three-pointer in and out. Rattled around but wouldn't stay down. Offensive rebound pulled out of there by number 2, Millie Long. So it'll be last touch there by Taylor, so it'll go over to Team Black. Be brought over by number 416, Allison Corral.
Allie's older sister, Heather, is one of my teammates at UW, and the oldest sister, Ashley Corral, played basketball at USC, so talented family there.
I can see those families where the athletic talent is there throughout the household. Think it makes for a good competitive factor, but I like to see the balance between that pedigree, but also letting each player sort of chart their own course versus having to walk in somebody else's footsteps. I'm sure you could talk about that experience with, your older sisters being volleyball players and you choosing to focus on basketball.
Growing up as a kid, I played volleyball, and I was always in their shadow, and I think I wanted to do something different. So I always love when parents encourage their kids to be different and go out, and you don't have to be like your sister. You can go do something else that you love. So I think Allie's definitely her own individual. She is a character. We love her out here.
The last bucket was scored by Maddie Thoma for Team 15, number 129. So having played volleyball and basketball for a while, your thoughts on the, players playing multiple sports? I mean, obviously, if you want to focus on one, that's okay, but there are some that sort of down the notion of playing multiple sports. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm big on playing multiple sports. As a kid growing up, I played everything. I played soccer. I played flag football. I even did baton twirling. That was more of my mom wanting me to do that, though. But I think it's huge. I think kids learn different skills in different sports. I also think that your muscles need time off. You can't play all the time basketball year-round at such a young age. I definitely think you need to be working different muscles and coordination. So playing multiple sports is huge.
Yeah. We're in the same boat there. Headed to the free throw line is Karina Taylor.
Is there really people out there that say that multiple sports are a bad thing?
Yeah, I ran into some, and it's just because they are so die-hard one sport. A lot of times it's your basketball aficionado that doesn't want to risk a player getting injured in football or vice versa. But surprisingly, there are some people that are that short-sighted. So we're going to have it pushed the other way by Millie Long. And Millie Long with the nice finish.
That was a nice Euro step across the lane with the right little wrist action there. Nice shot from Millie.
Got it done. That one's denied, but on the multi-sport tip, I've always been a big fan of it. Played 3 in high school, basketball, baseball, even played tennis Got my tail whipped every match during my freshman year. Ended up being pretty good. But, yeah, I'm all for multiple sports. I think, like you said, I think it helps you develop. And I think a lot of times there are universal skills and elements that are going to transfer anyway. So why not have fun and get a little bit of diversity in there in terms of your sports?
I also find that when I would play volleyball and I would come back to basketball, I felt for some reason that sure, there was maybe some rust, but I was a better athlete from doing something different. So, and it had a fresher perspective. I wasn't grinding it out playing basketball. I was just doing multiple things. So I'm right there with you. But tennis, man, I respect that.
Oh, man, it was, and the toughest thing was trying not to take my baseball swing to a tennis court. So that was a tough transition for me, but glad I played it.
That's funny you say that, because when I played volleyball and I would set, I would shoot it. My coach used to get mad at me for it.
Oh, man. It's 10-3 now in favor of Team 15. Make that 13-3 with that bucket being scored by Charlie Arthur.
I would like to see Team Black get into some organized sets. The spacing here hasn't been so good, and I think that's why they're having difficulty getting a clean shot off.
Yep. There they get the offensive rebound, and a shot up close, can't get it to go. That's just outside the elbow, no good on the jumper, but they have been able to get a few offensive rebounds here this possession. Add another one. Enough of that, says Arthur, as she's finally able to clear it out. That one laid up with the left there by number 50. That's Madison Cook.
It's a nice little touch off the glass there. You know, Cook has really impressed me throughout this showcase, and even yesterday while some of the players came to UW and played pickup, she was working on her ball handling the entire time, every time there was a break, really pushing herself. I think she's a player that's going to continue to get better as the years go on.
Working on that ball handling, you know, a lot of times when we cover a lot of travel basketball, and I think it's great when you look at what it adds and the stage that it provides, as we see that jumper knocked down there before Makia Reed. But I also like to see programs and players that are able to factor in skill development and really use the games as where you can apply that development and take advantage of the stage versus just playing a ton of games with no true skill development. What's been your outlook on that as you continue to climb through the ranks playing-wise?
I think it's a balance. You need to play. You need to get game experiences and learn things through trial and error. But you also need to work on your opposite hand, work on your step back, work on your floater. And that comes from practice. And then when you practice those things, you're able to input them into the game with trial and error. So I think it's a balance. I think some people harp on one more than the other. And, you know, everyone's different, though. Everyone needs different things. So up to the individual player. But for me personally, I like to work a lot on my skills.
Yeah. And that work is paid off. Marcus Burnett joined by Kelsey Plum, 2013 McDonald's All-American, USA basketball medalist. I believe you still hold that school record, 45 points scored versus Oklahoma there in your sophomore year there for Washington. So I know you're about winning games, but the accolades, definitely respectable.
Wow, I feel the love over here.
Hey, man, the numbers don't lie, you know. I'm just calling a spade a spade. Long rebound, the jumper's off the mark. Pass broken up now, trying to get it out of that corner. They do. Cook makes the extra pass. Taylor.
That's one part of Taylor's game I think she can continue to work on. She's very good going to the basket and attacking, but just get a little bit more of a consistent jump shot.
It'll be very hard to guard as she continues to work on that. Tough to keep off out of that second and third level. She has that jump shot. This time she looks inside and it's finished amidst the contact, number 129, that's Toma.
Now, I'd like to know your perspective on the idea. I think some people say you can make yourself into a shooter. Others say you're born with it. I'd like to know what you think about that idea.
I think it's a combination of both. I think it's another one of those instances where on a case-by-case basis, that's how you take it. There are some that were born shooting well, but I think players have been able to work on it. I feel like if you get the reps up, you're willing to put the work in. Basketball rewards you with what you earn and work for. So I think, are you going to go from not being able to shoot at all to being Reggie Miller or Steph Curry? Maybe not, but it's all relative. I think you look at some of your guards. I look at a guy like an Avery Johnson with the San Antonio Spurs. He was never a great shooter, but he hit enough jumpers to get them rings, So I think the work will reward you. When I look at a guy like a Rajon Rondo or something like that, he's never going to turn into a great shooter, but can he hit them enough to be able to win his team games? I think you can put enough work to get to that point. Obviously, shooting has never really been too much of a problem with you in your experiences. How would you, where do you stand in terms of that conversation?
I agree fully with what you just said. I definitely think basketball rewards you if you put the time in. And people ask, I think the harder you practice, the luckier you get.
Yep.
What's your perspective on the idea of the free throws? A lot of NBA guys especially shoot. There's some that shoot 40, 30% from the free throw line. Some make excuses for them that they got big hands and I don't know, it's not their game, but I think I have a little different perspective, but I'd like to know someone that watches basketball a lot. What's your perspective on that?
Hey, I will be the first to say the caveat that, hey, I played 2 years of Division III basketball, so I'm nobody's pro. But I do not understand how somebody's livelihood is playing basketball and they do not shoot above a certain percentage when it comes to the free throw line. I will make no excuse for it. I don't care how big your hands are. I know that might require more reps, but when you wake up, your job is to get as proficient as you can in every aspect of the game. So I make no excuses for it whatsoever. I think you got to be able to get it done. And I think a lot of times guys can kind of rest on their laurels because, I might shoot 40% from the free throw line, but I'm a double-double machine. So I think that's what happens a lot of times. And that might be what it is, but there's no excuse for shooting 40% from the free throw line. That's just my take on it. Obviously, I do not have the track record that you have, so I love to hear your 2 cents on it.
I struggle with it. I feel that if you're being paid that much money, and you can't figure it out yourself, you should hire someone to help you. But at the end of the day, you're right. If you are getting a double-double for your team, night in, night out, and that's not your skill set, you're never going to shoot 90 from the line, maybe like Steph, but I think at least a 60%, at least a D.
Yeah, at least a D. I mean,
at least that.
At least a D minus,
Because I do think at the end of the game, you hurt your team because people foul, they know that they'll take their chances with you.
Yep.
Nice little pump fake by Allie right there. The whole family, the way they play is just smart, under control. They make the right basketball play.
Corral with a nice bucket, the floater. That jumper's good there for number 18. That is Piper Bauer. Answer right back. They don't get back on defense. That's number 76, Ramona Gallegos. Off the mark, goes off the hands of Coral, going to be chased down. Wheeling, dealing, and scoring inside. That's a nice cluster of moves and finish by Deilani Bellina.
One of the things I noticed in this game, and I think even with this age group, is the transition game. Most of this game has been spent up and down the court, whether that's getting out and running, whether that's poor defense. I definitely like the pace that they're playing at.
Agreed, and Bellina, she gets up and down in a hurry, like the way she attacks. Can't get the 1-for-2 free throw opportunity. as we are under the 2-minute mark here in the first half.
We had a chance to play pickup at UW yesterday, and Belina was on my team, and she was fearless. She took more shots than I did, I think. I loved it. I just kept telling her to shoot.
I like it. Belina says, I did not come into town to be shy. Didn't have too far of a trip there out of Renton. But trying to make the most out of it here at the Check Me Out Showcase. Scores 22-20 as we come up on the final minute of the first half. See Stephen Peck, one of the evaluators on Peach State Basketball Prospects Nation. He's across the court on the other side. Saw Brett McCormick here as well. Just a couple of the evaluators here on site. Great training staff and putting that footwork to use. Not the first time we've seen that from Millie Long as she finishes another one.
Millie has done a phenomenal job throughout this game of attacking the rim, finishing, dodging her player. I'm very impressed with her.
There gets involved on the defensive end. She strips that away. Then we see the stop and pop. Who says the mid-range is a lost art? Piper Bauer able to get it to go.
Do you think it's a lost start?
I do. We have this conversation. One of our Peach State basketball colleagues, and Chris Watkins, he knocks the mid-range, says it's a terrible shot because you can either step out a few more feet and get the three-pointer, or you should be able to get a closer shot. I think it all comes down to how frequently you can hit it. And I think the mid-range is a great element, and it is something that's underrated.
Did Chris play basketball at a high level?
He played it. He's coached. But I think, yeah, it sounds like you're on the same side as me and Jonathan Hemingway, who's a few feet to our right. We let him have it for that. Like, how do you not understand? And the times we've been able to play against each other, we've made sure he's understood the value of the mid-range based on how we've used it against him. But, yeah, I totally agree. I love to see players that can keep the mid-range in their arsenal.
I mean, when you have a player that can shoot the three, the mid-range, and go to the basket, it can be so difficult to guard them because, all right, if you take away the drive, they have their shot. If you pressure them, you gap them, they can get in there in that mid-range. And if you get up on them, they're going to the hole. Like, one of the best players in the country that I think has all elements of her game is Kelsey Mitchell. And her ability to score at so many different levels and ways and nuances throughout the game is what makes her so special. So, I mean, the mid-range is definitely a lost art, but the people that still have it, they're very successful.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And one of the things I love about being able to knock the shot down and get to it is that it sets up so many layups if you're able to really use your ability to hit that shot and get the defender leaning one way or another or trying to close out on that mid-range. You're a step away from being able to get a layup. And I think once you show you can knock that mid-range shot down, there's always a little bit of hesitation when you sort of give them that shot fake or hesitate for a second. So I love to see players have it in their repertoire. We've seen players do it here at a young age, so I think that bodes well for them moving forward into the high school levels. But sometimes it can be tough to, how many players can you think of just on the pro levels? I know some have it, but I'm trying to think of some that are the poster boys or the poster girls for the mid-range jumper when you look at the highest level. Some of the names that kind of come out to me, I think of a Rip Hamilton in his heyday when he was with Detroit. He's good in the mid-range. I think Klay Thompson is also a very good mid-range shooter, just to name a couple.
On the women's side, I think the best is Sue Bird. She gets in there, and she is automatic. Also, Lindsay Whalen does a great job. Simone Augustus, a couple people that just won the gold. Congratulations to Team USA. But, you definitely is a lost art. And playing, when you move up levels, especially if you're a smaller guard, coming off a pick and roll or coming in transition, a lot of times you can't get to the basket. There's somebody that's 6'5" down there. There's somebody with long arms that can jump that won't let you. So having a mid-range is key to be able to getting your shot off.
Agreed. I look at that run with Kimball Walker with the UConn Huskies there during that championship year, and I don't think you'll find a better use of the mid-range during that championship run there from the Big East tournament all the way through the championship than what Kemba Walker did. Late game situations throughout the game, all included.
Do you remember that step back?
Vicious step back.
Oh,
vicious step back. I'm sure the victim's ankles definitely remember it. That was a tough one right there as it's 29-20. Followed that one especially closely because one of Kemba Walker's more influential running mates there that year, Jeremy Lamb. He's based out of the Atlanta area, comes out of Norcross in that basketball factory, and he and Kemba Walker clicked very well that year, and Lamb ended up being a first-round pick as a result of it.
I remember that. That was such a fun team to watch. The way they moved the ball, the way their guards dominated. That was probably one of my favorite championship runs to watch.
That was a good one there as Taylor goes to the ground. I'll tell you a player to keep your eye on. He's a McDonald's All-American, so some of what I'm saying is being captain obvious. But Tariq Gilbert, freshman headed at UConn, I'm telling you, puts you in that same mindset of Kemba Walker in terms of not a guy that's going to look very tall in terms of the airport test, but has all of the intangibles. He'll definitely be a pro. He'll be a player you'll enjoy watching with game recognizing game as it relates to D1 basketball.
I will definitely have my eye out.
Coming up on the 13-minute mark, it's a 29-20 ball game. Karina Taylor was very aggressive early on, got the first few buckets. Here she's trying to set things up. I want to keep off the back of the rim as you can kind of see fatigue setting in a little bit with the teams. I say that as an observation, not a criticism. I think at any camp where you're really working, if fatigue doesn't set in at some point, how hard are you really working in some of the exercises and drills?
I was just about to say that you can definitely see shots are short. Ball placement is a little sloppy. That was a nice move inside. But I think this is the time that separates the players that want it, because if you really want it, you'll fight through that fatigue and you'll be able to help your team.
Able to find a crease and get another one up close. Piper Bauer. Bauer's got a couple jumpers right there from the free throw line to the middle of the paint. Ball picked up by Taylor.
At times, Taylor can not as aggressive as she should be. And I think right now she's maybe deviating to some of her teammates. And as this game gets tighter and closer to the end, I would like to see her be more aggressive and assertive.
Get it ahead to Cook. That one's lost out of bounds. 31-22, 11 minutes, 33 seconds remaining here in the second half. As Corral brings it across the timeline. Selena gonna try a three-pointer. Gets it to go.
Nice shot off the dribble, just kind of lulled her defense to sleep and knocked the shut down.
Answering right back, that is 58, Bella Jensen. That one's short. Offensive rebound, though, for Ramona Gallegos. Good job of going to the floor, not taking no for an answer there, Carly Arthur.
There she goes again.
Amelie. Another finish there on the fast break.
That's some of the most impressive finishes I've seen today.
Yeah, it is. What I like about it is that we've seen her use the Euro step to finish a couple times. There she did something different. I'm sure you've played with, I know I've played with players that are committed to a certain move. Like I had a high school teammate we called him spin move because he was always going to try to set up and do a spin. If he could do a spin move when he shot a free throw, he probably would, and it was so predictable. But what I liked about Millie Long there is that she's showing a couple different ways to score, not just committed to during the Euro step, even when it doesn't fit.
There are definitely some players that I've played with or even against that you know what they're going to do before they do it, and they still do it.
That's their story, and they're sticking to it. Under the 10-minute mark now. Nice little in and out dribble there by Corral. Is able to draw the attention of the D, kick it off to Bellina, who will head to the charity stripe.
Corral has done a great job throughout this game facilitating and getting her teammates involved, just putting them in places to be successful. She sets her teammates up so well, just draws the defense, and she was able to get her teammate an open shot.
Very State Farm-like here in this game. Here to assist. Good defense by Bellina. Can't keep it in bounds. Good hustle. Setting up on the block. Can't get the shot to go, and it's in the hands of Corral. Floater kicks off the back of the rim. Free throw line jumper just inside of it. String music. Artist Madison Plouts. Good defense there by number 8, Makia Reed.
Chris told me to come over here for your...
Corral's denied. Jumpers off the mark. We're joined by another Cedar Park, Texas native. This time it's Nicole Luff. Nicole, thanks for joining us here courtside at the Check Me Out Showcase.
Thank you.
How's the camp faring for you so far?
It's doing good. I like it. It's fun.
What do you enjoy about it the most? Obviously, we got a couple different elements. You got a great camp staff. You got good competition. What stands out to you the most in terms of what you enjoy here?
I like the intensity of how it's always so upbeat and everything, and everyone's pretty good and high level, so you get to play against a lot of high level girls.
What players have you enjoyed playing with or against the most? I know it's just day one. Anybody that stands out to you?
Danny, I don't know what number she is. She goes by Sheridan too. And then Bree, I like playing with them. They're on my team.
Good stuff. Bucket scored inside as we are under the 8-minute mark now. Talk about some of the coaches you've been able to work with and learn from. You've got Kelsey Plum right next to us, stand out there at University of Washington. You've got Chris Hippler, the skills trainer. You've got some camp staffers that have coached at the college level. How has it been being able to learn from them here over the course of the day?
I enjoy learning from them because they've been in this experience and they've know what to do, I guess. And so they help me figure out what to do.
Yeah, gotcha. Doing a pretty good job of putting things together is Allie Corral, as she got a three-pointer there on that last play. Follow up here by number 129, Maddie Toma.
That three by Allie is, like I said again, it's in the family tree. Her sister Ashley at USC holds the record for most three-pointers made in a career, so nothing short of her sister there.
Oh yeah, sound like they probably had a few good games of horse.
Yeah.
Going on with those jump shots. Number 162, Deilani Bellina scored on that last play. So Nicole, what do you consider the best part of your game so far in terms of what you do well out there on the floor?
I like to shoot mid-range, but then I also like posting up and everything. I know I'm a shorter post, or 6 foot, but in a way it's kind of short, I guess.
We were just talking about the mid-range and how a lot of times it's underrated, somewhat of a lost art, but here even at a young age, that was one of the first things that you mentioned. What made you focus on that mid-range?
Well, when I went to San Antonio, that's one of the things for the San Antonio showcase. That's one of the things they said I should work on. So I've been working on my mid-range shots around the elbow.
That's really impressive. I've always been a fan of when people are told they need to work on something and then they do it and they get better at it. And you see their game change, and that's what makes people get better and play at the next level. Yeah. So speaking of the next level, do you have any places colleges that you dream about, you want to go to? Do you want to play at the next level?
Yeah, I want to play college basketball. I mean, UT right next to where we
Okay,
live.
UT, hook 'em horns.
We live in Austin, Texas. So.
Okay, cool. That's your dream school?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. They also happen to be pretty dang good.
Yeah.
Pretty dang good on the last shot was Maddie Toma. She hit a triple. Now 43-36.
I had a friend that played at Texas last year, Imani Boyette. Now she plays with the Chicago Sky.
Okay.
I love her. She's a character, but she's about 6'7", has a long wingspan, and the girl can block a lot of shots.
6'7". That is definitely a deterrent to scoring inside. No deterrent on the defensive glass there, or the offensive glass for Team Black. Is you see Sharia Johnson as well as number 57, Gabby Stewart, converged to get that lay-in. Stewart actually got it. Boyette there for the Chicago Sky. She gets a chance to be around, in my opinion, the best pizza in the country in Chicagoland. I don't think it's I know New Yorkers. There are probably some New Yorkers that might be throwing something at the screen right now when I say that Chicago has the best pizza, but in my experience, it's the best.
I don't know. I don't know. I haven't tried either, so.
If you go next time you're in Chicago, try a place called Giordano's.
Okay, Giordano's.
And then let me know your thoughts. New York pizza is good, but in my opinion, Giordano's is the best. Being out of Texas, Nicole is kind of looking at us like, man, who cares about what pizza is the best? Get that out of here, says Sharia Johnson.
That was a nice block. She didn't leave her feet. She just waited for the player to go up and finished.
As Taylor able to get that pass in and lay it in. And Kelsey, talk about the value of having an interior player that can change shots, block shots, but has a good enough defensive awareness to know how to defend without fouling. A weight room move and finish inside by Sharia Johnson.
I think the best player I've ever played with on the interior would be Breonna Stewart in USA basketball. Someone that can test shots, maybe can't block it, but will contest it, make it very difficult for the defender, and then she doesn't foul, and she doesn't give the offense opportunities for good looks at the basket. So when I played, I always try to funnel my girl right to Bree.
Yeah. Sometimes there could be nothing more rewarding and frustrating than having a player that has that kind of impact inside, but having to essentially walk on eggshells because they're in foul trouble and can't really play their game because they're on the bench, so they have to be timid. As Sharia Johnson makes another meat and potatoes move and the finish inside.
Johnson has really made her presence felt here in the second half. She's looking a little fatigued right now, but hopefully she can get it through and get her team over the top.
Like you mentioned, this is where that conditioning gets better. These type of settings, kind of like when you're lifting weights. If there's no burn, what muscle gains are you really experiencing? And Johnson definitely pushing herself to the limits now, trying to dig deep, finish this one strong as we approach the 2-minute mark. So, Nicole, is there a particular player, not to say that you necessarily model your game after them, but who are some of your favorite players and what do you try to learn from them?
I don't know, from Texas, Kelsey Lang, she's number 40, so I've always liked her, and because she's like a post and she's like really strong inside, but I don't know.
I've watched her play multiple times. Lang's a great player. She plays really hard, and she's tough.
Yeah.
She's that person that you want to pick up on your team.
I say Corral's worth a roster spot as well. Another jumper. As we come up on a minute 30, Team Black just keeps losing somebody behind them, as that's another easy layup there in transition.
That's the third bucket in a row that Team Black has just lost Team White. There he goes again. And, you know, you can't win when you give up that easy of a bucket.
Yeah. It's like they're just plugging a hole in the boat and poking another one at the same time. They're trading buckets. Both teams tired, but Team White, a little bit more juice left in their legs here over the last few minutes. Trying to thread the needle there, going to be poked away. Here's Millie Long. We approach the final 30 seconds. Team White is going to move it around, try to wrap this one up. Coach said no shot, number 58. There tries to get one last one in, Bella Jensen. Corral, money in the bank. She rattles one home. It'll be too little too late, but definitely a solid performance for Corral. Appreciate you joining us here on SUV TV for the Underclass Division. I'm Marcus Burnett. They're Kelsey Plum and Nicole Luff, and we'll see you here for day 2 tomorrow from the Check Me Out Showcase.
Good job. That was...
The more you talk,